does that mean for you and your team? You see that change from matchup to
Yeah, we're trying to work. There's a little spell in there. We won't run the ball well enough, and we're trying to get back to that. We kind of have a three-headed group with Green, Ford, and Pierre out there that'll kind of do their own thing well. But last 2 games we ran the ball pretty well, and we're trying to keep building on that. But you get used to those guys, our line's back, and the guys that have been starting are back and working together. So it's good.
Have you experienced that down like a snake and you consider organization?
I mean, we've always, obviously when Nick's here, we've had Nick's great last few years, so it's a pretty good 1-2 punch. But now we're getting, 3 guys in carries, and the others have stepped up a couple times for us last, couple of years. So I think we're in best one position where you get guys in there, but I think we're getting, we have 3 guys that legit can get, 8 to 12 carries a week and kind of spread out the love so they kind of stay fresh and that different things they're working on.
What do you guys have to do with Juwan this week? So, how well has he been playing and adapting to that pass football?
Yeah, he's, hopefully we get him out there. I don't know the extent of, how he's feeling and stuff, but he's done a really good job, and I think that's his strength is pass blocking. He's done a really good job going into that role. He's had some tough challenges going against certain guys, but he's really stepped up to it. And I think if you watch those few weeks, it's also sport game assignment has grown. His understanding of the NFL and the details that it takes to be successful has continued to improve. So obviously we want him out there to keep improving and working, but he has that raw talent to be as good as he really wants to be. So we'll keep pushing him and hopefully he keeps taking steps and improving.
Joel, this is the 5th game now where you're not real sure where your starting quarterback's going to be. How taxing has that been on you guys on the offensive line when it comes to preparing, not knowing definitively who you're going to be blocking?
I mean, obviously we'd rather just be like, Deshaun's out there, we're ready to roll with your starting quarterback. But coaches talk about being resilient all year. And that's kind of what we focus on the whole line. We can control, and focus on that. Poe really does a good job whenever I, talk about something. He's like, he's got to control, we can control, and I think it's a great point, because we can only do what's called. We can only do block for who's out there, and that's kind of been our mindset since we've had this injury issues.
And that way, it's got to be difficult, but is it that difficult because you have a job to do no matter who's back there? Like, isn't that kind of the focus?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we're going to go out there and we're going to have to play 70 snaps of football no matter who's playing quarterback out there. So it's kind of been the O-line's mindset, and we, like you said, control what we can control, and we really just go out there and focus on our jobs, and like obviously everybody wants Deshaun to come back when he's ready to go. But that's really been our mindset the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Joel, guys are saying after the game that you guys work the screen game all the time in practice. So is this the most you've done that under a coach or a coordinator with Kevin? And then just how what goes into a successful screen game?
Yeah, so since Coach Fancy's been here with Bill and AVP, we always have a screen period, and it might not be full speed, but we always have some sort of screen period pretty much every day, especially Wednesday, Thursday. We're out there running around. Even if I'm not practicing, usually I'll jump in there just so I get the timing down and stuff. But it's really, timing, understanding who's out on the screen, finding your landmarks. And now we can't cut, so it's really, they can't cut us, but it's really pressing in field, in space, trying to get bodies on bodies out there. But the main thing is the timing aspect. If you can get out when guys are getting out and no one's downfield, I think that's when you have the best opportunity. And I think the scheme-wise, we have a bunch of different schemes, so we're not just running the same scheme over and over. But it does take time, and we've been working on it for 4 years now. But trying to get the screens, and I think since Kevin's been here, we've had a very good, one of the top in the league. So it's something that we want to pride ourselves on and keep working, and showing that we can be the best screen teams in the league.
Your evaluation of Nick Harris's route running skills?
Pretty good, he hasn't got a ball yet, but But we, we want to get him. We want to get him on here. No, he's doing a great job. I mean, that's a guy that was a starter. Really since he's been here, he's practiced like a starter because JC was a little bit banged up when he was here, and then Obviously, he's gotten hurt a couple times, but we think of him as our sixth lineman, and for him to get on the field and kind of take that role as a fullback, but also be able to be our backup center is huge because not very many teams put a fullback on the roster. So it's been good for him, and we love having him out there. We can run the ball and we can play action.
You want one crack at that spot though?
You know, when I was a young guy, I was real excited. I'm like, give me the ball, and now I'm just like, I'll just stand and block. I've lost my edge on that a little bit.
You get excited because it looked like they were going to try to go for him like that in the end zone.
I would get excited. I didn't know what option he was on the route. Sometimes you put in a play and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, run, and then mix your fifth option. You know what I mean? So there's a little bit of a tree there. But no, I mean we had Kendall Lamb score a touchdown I think 3 or 4 years ago when he was playing tight end. So him or James or someone gets a touchdown, I think the line will get pretty excited.
Has there been a tackle eligible play since you've been here? Supposed to go to the tackle, but the play never materialized.
Gosh, I'm sure it has happened. You know what I mean? I remember the Kendall one worked. I think that's the only one we've thrown to a guy. We've had places, guys before, but I think that's the only one that's been executed. So I'm sure there's 1 or 2 in there that weren't called or weren't executed.
Do you have a favorite big man touchdown?
Oh gosh. Kendall was the one I was part of, but any of those ones where the guy's wide open and he's kind of waiting for the ball to float up there, you see that if he's a true athlete or not, if he's coming down with it.
Joel, with James Hudson, I mean, the coaches in the training camp praised him and how hard he's worked. Just how do you think when he has to step in, and if he has to step in this week, how he handles that kind of role?
Yeah, it was big. He hadn't really got too much extended time this year, but obviously last game he stepped in and I thought he played very solid. And he's been working. He knows he has to be kind of our big tight end, right side, left side, do it all as a backup, and he stays ready. I talk to him a lot, just being like, stay ready, be focused, As a backup lineman, you have to truly be ready to play at any moment. You don't know what's going to happen. And he's always locked in. He's always like, I'm ready. And this week we were talking, we weren't sure if Jed, was going to be able to go. And so I was like, all right, let's go. If you're ready. He's like, I'll be ready. And then he ended up having to go on the right side. So it was a little bit different than the reps he got in practice. But no, his work ethic and Coach Callahan, Coach Peters, John, all working with them to make sure the backups are ready to roll.
You guys were able to get 155 yards from the three-headed monster. Just how are you guys feel better with your run game right now?
Yeah, we've been stressing, we've been working it, especially you don't have your quarterback one in, you know what I mean? You got to try and run a little bit, but it's better. Like I said, we were bottled up for a couple weeks there, but it's been waking up a little bit. I think the last couple weeks, and I think we're seeing what Ford's good at, what Pierre's good at, what Freeman's good at. If we could kind of use that to our advantage.
Cardinals, I think our 8th in sacks with the 24, and 11 guys have at least one. So even though they're 1-7, they can bring it, right? And you guys have to watch out for them.
Yeah, it's actually pretty impressive to put on tape how hard they go and how hard they rush. Like you said, it's not one guy, making all the plays for them. They got guys. We looked at the sheet and it was like 4, 3.5, 2.5, 2.5. You know what I mean? Like a bunch of guys with multiple sacks. And I think it's how they play off each other. They run a lot of games. They kind of have a couple of front sets. They're moving around a lot where you have to kind of ID who you want to block. But it's really an impressive effort group. Like the guys just keep going, and sometimes you're like, oh, they blocked them up pretty good, and the guy will just keep turning the corner, step up into the sack, and make those plays. So they work well together. It's one of the things I've come across, and I think any TV play in this league, I've been in those situations where we haven't been great, but teams are fighting for wins, and everybody's always playing for that next game or that next contract.
It's a lot like Philly.
They do a lot of things like Philly. Like there's some Philly stuff that we've taken, but they're pretty multiple. They're probably the most multiple fronts we've seen this year. They're a base 3 down, but they have all types of different looks that they can give you. And they kind of do a weird thing with their Sams and Wills that are building off the ball sometimes, but they're still you got that kind of protection.
Joel, this might be kind of big picture, but do you guys talk about as a group like how proud you are of the fact that sometimes injuries happen and you've got to just like plug in pieces, and as a group you guys have been really steady throughout the course of the year?
Yeah, it's I think Coach Callahan does a great job of stressing to us like this like every game we know who's going to be the first center and the first guard and the first tackle and who's going to be up, who's going to be down. So there's always a stress of like, hey, you have to prepare for these positions. And I think it's a credit to the guys and the coaching that they're always usually pretty ready and they understand what they're doing when they come in the game. But it's something you don't want to talk about where like, oh yeah, O-line, people get banged up, but it's one of those tough positions in this league. It's NFL, but I think, we've done a good job of that, and it's really that next man mentality.
Thanks, Joel.
Thanks, Joel.